I'm Christy from BNC Tax, U.S. tax experts for Americans living abroad. I have a quick update about the 30% ruling and the proposed changes and how it will affect U.S. taxpayers in the Netherlands. If you don't know what the 30% ruling is, I'll quickly explain it. Then I'm going to explain how it affects those who already have it and how it could affect you if you're thinking about coming to the Netherlands in the near future. So the 30% ruling is an advantageous tax regime which applies to those who are recruited from abroad to come and live and work in the Netherlands. There's a couple of different benefits that it provides, but the main benefit is that up to 30% of the income that you earn as an employee is tax-free. And that can be whether you're an employee of a large established company or if you set up a company yourself and pay yourself a salary. So it's a very big benefit because it essentially means that only 70% of your working income is taxed. Another benefit is that you're considered a non-resident or a partial non-resident, which means that you may not have to pay taxes on the wealth that you have outside of the Netherlands or the holdings that you have, significant holdings that you have in corporations outside the Netherlands. So these are very attractive pieces of tax legislation that make it easy for Americans to come and live in the Netherlands without a lot of tax repercussions. We all know that the Netherlands has a very high tax rate, so of course this is also really lucrative for expats who want to pay themselves a good salary but also want to experience a tax regime that's not too different from the effective tax rate that they have in their home country, the United States. So the proposed regulations are still in process, but we do expect them to pass sometime before the end of this year. The proposed regulations essentially state that instead of the 30% ruling being across the board for 5 years, the proposed regulations state that the 30% ruling will be allocated in 20-month periods instead of all as one 60-month period. So the allocation will be that the first 20 months you'll have the 30%, the second 20 months would be a 20%, and the third 20 months would be 10%. Obviously, this means a significant change to the way that your income is taxed. But the second part of the legislation is that there would be no exemption, residency exemption. So you would be subject to the Box 2 and Box 3 tax, which is tax on dividends from significant corporate holdings, and the tax on your wealth, your net wealth. So this affects a lot of decision making. We don't know when exactly this proposed regulation will pass, although we do know it's being debated over the next couple of weeks and especially in December of 2023. The regulation will come into effect in January 2024, and there will be a transitory regulation that applies to those who already had the 30% ruling before that date. If you've been thinking about moving to the Netherlands, this may push up your timeline. One of the things that we think will happen is that you will have had to already be on payroll in 2023 in order to establish your place in the transitory regime. If you're on the DAFT visa, you will have had to already establish your company and hired yourself as an employee. It's not necessarily the case that you have to have had your 30% ruling approved, but you do have to have a payroll cycle in 2023 in order to qualify. So if you haven't already thought about how to move up your DAFT schedule, this may be the time to do it. For some specifics on how the semantics work, I would recommend that you talk to a Dutch tax advisor. Today, I'm only talking about the US tax implications and how it might affect you. Again, this is not tax advice, but what you should do if you think this is going to affect you is just reach out to your tax advisor. You can book a consultation with one of our advisors at BNC Tax, and we would be happy to walk you through what this might mean and do some projections so you can actually see the effect of what your tax rate will look like in the future if you are under the new ruling, and it will help you make better decisions about your plans to stay in the Netherlands long term. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We're always happy to help, bnctax.com, and we look forward to talking with you.